Greetings, this is Atma. This is episode number 87, The Spirituality of Defiance. And we are here live in our new studio. And it's still a work in progress, so bear with me. I'm sure you're going to see some changes to this studio as time goes on. And this title may have caught your attention about Spirituality of Defiance for the simple reason that it sounds very defiant, which on the outset seems quite unlike spirituality. A lot of people attribute spirituality to be somewhat complacent, somewhat subdued, submissive even. Many people regard surrender as an important part of spirituality. And I've got quite a different take on it than that. And so what we're going to do is first read something I wrote earlier. And I'm still adjusting to this new concept of talking into a more professional camera, so bear with me. But let's just go ahead and read. 1 minute. The Spirituality of Defiance. Potentiate your potential. Be maximal. Defiance is a path. Be resolute. The truth is defiant. What does that mean? Potentiate your potential. This means that your potential is greater than you can conceive of. No one can fully know your potential, including you. And any idea that you or anyone else has about you will always be less than the true you, which is your unrealized potential. Be maximal. This means being receptive to experience a fluidly maximum perception of your deeper identity. Losers surrender. Champions never give up. I consider that only your inauthenticity can be unraveled. Life should be a personalized experience, not an impersonal one. It's like the difference between a custom suit and JC Penney. Your life is tailored to you, and it is not a life mass-produced on a factory floor. All truth defies conformity, defies change, and defies oppression. It is the part of us that isn't truth that can change. Absolute truth doesn't surrender. If absolute truth exists within your microcosm, your soul, the truth of you cannot surrender to truth. It is impossible. To be able to surrender is to identify with the lesser version of you. The only part that can be surrendered is a misconception of who you are. Who is that authority that says that the other will is greater? Seeing yourself as a victim is not seeing yourself as a master. I'm a shepherd who wants the sheep to become shepherds. The ultimate challenge of enlightenment to me is finding the deeper you that nothing can unsettle. Defiance is a path. This means to be stubborn about being whole and to defy anything external that tries to convince you otherwise. Let nothing drag you down. Be defiant against any external attempts at this. Refuse to be a victim or to have the victim mentality. Even the gods respect strength, and any god that demands your surrender or subservience is not a god worthy of such. The truth is that the Absolute does not want anyone's surrender, and you can be stronger than any God while never surrendering. No retreat, no surrender. Full enlightenment and empowerment can occur by simply advancing defiantly in symbiosis with the Absolute. I created this path of defiance just to prove that enlightenment doesn't require surrender or conformity. Defiance itself is spiritual, or at least can be in proper context. And that concludes the written portion of today's podcast. And this is going to be interesting because this very first podcast, I've not actually set a timer on it. So we're going to try to ascertain what is 20 minutes. But let's just go ahead and go deeper into this. First of all, why is it that we're talking about defiance? As you might imagine, throughout my life, I've had a bit of an authority problem. I do not like submitting to any authority, whether it be a human being, whether it be God itself. And more than 2 years ago, I experienced an epiphany, an enlightenment, an experience of illumination and bliss that completely changed my life. I found that every single moment of every single day was inherently blissful. And what I mean by bliss is it's being in ecstasy 24/7. From the moment I wake up in the morning, I'm in bliss. To the moment I go to sleep at night, I'm in bliss. And even in my dreams, I'm still in bliss. And this is powerful because not only is it bliss, how I define liberation is having the strength to feel that amazing all the time in every situation that you find yourself in, whether it be a toxic work environment, whether it be any situation you don't like, whether it be someone shouting in your face, whether it be being physically assaulted, whether it be stepping into the ring in the UFC, to be able to come from such a place that fear has no power over you, that external desire has no power over you, that no negative emotion, negative thought, to be completely free from anything like doubt, no doubt. And you might argue that something like this is impossible. And I used to think the same way until it happened to me. And I am of such a conviction that I believe actually I don't like using the word belief, but I'm such a conviction that I am of the understanding that if it can happen to me, it can also happen to you. In fact, I regard this as something inevitable that can happen to everyone. And it's going to happen whether you want it to or not. Because this tide, this global, universal tide that's coming, it's going to sweep everyone off its feet. Because when you can feel love in your heart and you can feel bliss in your mind, you feel unstoppable. You feel inherently powerful. And what does that mean? That means that you feel inspired to be able to accomplish in your life whatever you want to accomplish. And it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how young you are. It doesn't matter what economic background you have had. It doesn't matter what color of your skin or what sex you are. Because when you're tapped into this and you're tuned into this, it doesn't matter. Because you are exactly where you're supposed to be. The right place and the right time. And this is just the beginning. But in my opinion, it's about being defiant. There is no God worthy of subservience. Because any God that's worthy already exists within you. So are you going to be subservient to yourself? No. You're going to be yourself. You're going to be the best version of you that you've ever seen. And why? Why would you want to do that? Because that's the most natural you possible. That there's literally nothing that has the power to get in your way. When you realize and tap into this infinite spark of limitlessness that exists inside of you, nothing has the power to stand in your way. And so, being defiant doesn't mean that you want to control anybody. It doesn't mean that you want to put other people under some kind of role of, or some kind of thumb. No. It means that you just don't let any external force overcome you. Being defiant in this way means being true to yourself. To not let anyone or anything stop you from being who you are. That's the kind of defiance that everybody needs. Because when you have this love in your heart and this bliss up here, people might call you deluded. And what you'll say to that is that if this is delusion, I want more of it. That's how wonderful it is. This is something everybody wants. And you can have it too. And the first step to doing that is not by serving any master. It's not by bowing to any god. But it's about standing up. Standing up for you. Standing up for you when no one else has ever done that for you. But you can. You can be that fearless voice in your own head to stand up with conviction, with confidence, and know that there's nothing that can stop you. And that's what I want for you, because that's what I want for me. And that's the way my life is. And one key to doing this, and I know this may sound controversial, but to be defiant is to be positive. Sure, you can have a negative attitude in being defiant, but true defiance is not having a negative attitude. It's about believing in yourself. That is expansive. If you don't believe in yourself, That's not expansive. That's contracting. And when you have that shield of positivity, that's conducive to being in harmony with the universe. Science has recognized that the universe is expanding. Well, guess what? If the universe is expanding, that is a positive characteristic. Expansion is a positive characteristic. And just as the universe expands, so can you. And the only way you're going to expand is to first regard it as even possible that you can expand. And what is expanding? Expanding means you are something. You are special. You have this spark of the infinite inside of you, this limitless spark. And when that awakens inside of you, boom, you blow up. You become more. And I'm looking at the camera right now, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I hope this is coming out okay, because this is my first test with this, with a full podcast, with this new setup. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm not screwing anything up. But the point here is that when you have a shield of positivity, the next step is resoluteness. To not let anyone have the power to unsettle you, to trigger you, to offend you. This is power. If you get offended easily, guess what? That's weak. You're giving someone else the power to change your mood. So true strength, true liberation, means that not only do you feel great, but nobody else can take that from you. And that is the strength, the power that I want as many people out there in the world to experience for themselves. Because once you do experience this for yourself, then you realize that this is something essential for living and surviving. And when you have this, you tend to start to develop more ambitions. You start to realize that there's nothing you can't do when you put your mind to it, when you believe in yourself. So, the path of defiance. That means you defy anyone to interrupt you from being you. Don't give anyone or anything the power to inspire fear within you, doubt, external desire, negativity, bad mood, anger. Don't give anyone the power to do that. And if you don't have that power yet, which is understandable, just know that that power exists and you can have it. And when you believe it exists, that's a good first step. As for me, I don't have any beliefs because I don't need beliefs. My every moment is a continuous inspiration. But I also understand that you can fake it until you make it, that you can believe first that it's possible, that it's something that you can work towards, that you can acquire for yourself. Anyway, this is just the first of many, many videos that is going to be coming from this channel. I'm sure that I'm going to get some of the quirks out and things are going to become more natural making these videos in the future. I'm sure the first ones are going to be a bit more awkward at times. But the point is the purpose of this channel is dedicated to you. It's dedicated to you being the best you possible. It's dedicated to seeing the best you, to seeing that divinity within you, to recognize that namaste, this means that the divine in me recognizes and accepts the divine in you. And so the message of this podcast is that once you have this feeling, this deeper feeling of self, to be defiant with it. Don't let anyone take it from you. Carry it with you everywhere. Try to carry that love in your heart all the time. And if you don't have love, know that you can have love in your heart all the time. Carry that bliss in your mind. If you don't have bliss, know that you can have bliss all the time. It's there. It's waiting for you. It's inevitable. So, feel free to visit divinity.com. Also, I'm going to include also an Instagram link there as well. I'm trying to get more active as well on Instagram, but you can find the Reddit links. You can find the YouTube video link. You can also find the Slack community link. We're building a Slack community so that people of like minds can communicate on this path of enlightenment. And I'm going to keep pumping out videos like this. This video, in one respect as well, is a bit of a test. I'm going to look at it and tweak it. And the future ones are going to be even better. But we're trying to get into a habit of putting out regular content more frequently. And until next time, you guys have a fantastic day. This is Atmaboda, signing off. Peace.